Standing at the top of your mat, feet are going to be hips distance apart. Take your shoulders up by your ears and then just roll them back and down. Relax your arms and close your eyes for just a moment. And just allow yourself to come into this space. And begin to energize the feet, rooting down through all four corners of your feet. Start to lift the muscles around the quads. And gently draw your tailbone down towards your heels to engage your lower abdomen. Lengthen up through the spine and the crown of your head. And then pull your shoulder blades towards one another to kiss. Turn your palms to face forward. And take a big breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Okay. One more breath like that. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. With your next breath in, reach your arms up overhead, blink your eyes open. And as you exhale, take your arms right back down to your sides. Take your chin in towards your chest. Okay. And then again, inhale, reach your arms all the way up overhead. Pause at the top, plug the shoulder blades in, so relax the shoulders, activate that lower abdomen. Okay. We're going to grab a hold of the right wrist with the left hand. From here, we're going to step the right foot back into the left like a crossover. Okay. And then press the hips towards the right, bend into your front knee, open your top shoulder. Good, you can ground that right foot all the way, Kaylee. Awesome, take a big breath in here. And as you exhale, take your hands into your heart, straighten out your torso, just come back to the top of your mat. Good. And then again, inhale, reach your arms up. From here, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Step your left foot back behind you and to the right off of your mat. Bend into that right knee. Press the hips towards your left. Open your heart towards the sky. Okay, take a full breath into that left side waist. And then exhale the hands back to the heart center. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, put a little bend in your knees, forward fold, grabbing opposite elbows here, just hanging in ragdoll for a moment. And let the head be nice and heavy. Maybe sway from side to side, maybe bend your knees one at a time. Saying hello to your hamstrings, the back of your neck. And remember to find a nice consistent breath throughout your practice today. And with your next inhale, straighten out your legs, come into a flat back. So your hands can be on the floor, on your shins, or on blocks. Pause here for a moment, drop a belly and lengthen up through the tailbone. And then exhale, bow forward again. Good. Once again, come to a flat back, lengthen. Exhale, fold. One more time, breathe in. And fold, exhale. From here, plant your hands on the floor, step your feet back into your downward facing dog. And once you arrive in your down dog, just walk your legs out one at a time, swaying your hips from side to side. Finding whatever movement you like to take when you first come into this pose. Good. And then coming back into center, I want you guys to bend your knees. Try to lift your hips as high as they can go, maybe melting the chest back towards the ankles a little bit. And then start to soften your heels towards the mat now. Keep the sitting bones high, the belly drawn in. Outer rotate your shoulder blades. Try to feel the length in the back of your legs. From here, stretch your right leg out behind you. You can bend the right knee, maybe straighten it out and bend it a few times so that feels nice. Okay. And then gently draw your right knee in towards your nose. Step the foot all the way through between the hands. Good. And then here's a good opportunity to come up on blocks if you have a little bit of a tighter hamstring today. With our inhale, we're going to lift the hips up. Try to straighten out that right leg. For those of you a little bit more flexible here, you can opt to flex the right toes towards your face. And just take one more breath here. And as you exhale, bend back into that knee low lunge. Good. Let's move through the breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Try to keep the hips square. Let's go one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Pause here. Drop your back knee, to the floor. And then take your arms either to your hips or arms reach up overhead. Okay. Try to find some stability here in the legs by pulling your feet in towards one another, squaring your hips towards the top of the mat, then maybe going a little bit deeper into that front thigh. And then grab a hold of your left wrist again, just like we did before. So grab your left wrist with your right hand, lengthen through the waist, and then lean to your right. Okay, so as you lean right, push your left hip bone forward and slightly down. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, release your hands down to the floor to frame your right foot. Tuck the back toes. Step back right into your downward facing dog. And breathe. In and out through the nose, soften your face. When you're ready, take your left leg up. Open up your left hip. And again, you can bend and straighten that leg a few times. Keep softening the right heel towards the floor. Next exhale, take your knee in towards your nose, round your spine. Then we're going to step that foot forward. Okay. So again, either flat hands, maybe come to your fingertips, maybe to blocks. Try to lengthen your spine with an inhale. Straighten out the front leg, soften the back heel, maybe flex the toes. As you exhale, bend the knee. Inhale as you straighten and lift. Exhale as you bend. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Breathe in, lengthen. And exhale, bend. Good. Drop your back knee to the mat. Hands can come up to the hips or reach your arms up overhead. And then again, energize your legs. You're not just collapsing into the legs here, especially if you're pretty flexible. We want to squeeze your inner thighs together, lift and lengthen up through the rib cage. Relax the shoulders. Now grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand, reach up, and then slight bend over towards the left as you press your right hip bone forward. Breathe. Slowly release your hands down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, come right back into your downward facing dog once again. Root down through your fingertips, your knuckles, and lift all the way up through the sitting bones and down through the heels. Once again, inhale your right leg up behind you. This time, right away, exhale, step the foot forward. And from here, I want you to take your right hand inside your right foot. Walk your right foot out to the side of your mat. Good. Push your left heel back and then pull your heart forward and then try to lower your hips without bending your back leg. Good. So squeeze the shoulder blades back almost like you're puffing up your chest. Nice. Good. Breathe. And then slowly drop your back knee to the floor. All right. So just double check. Make sure that your right knee is right above your right ankle. Some of you may take your forearms down to the mat here. Some of you might stay on the hands, and others maybe take a block underneath your forearms if you need a little bit more space. And if it feels good to relax the neck, you can kind of let the neck hang. If it feels good to stay with a long spine, stay with a long spine. 3 more long breaths where you are. slowly come back up to your hands. I want you to point your right toes out to a 45-degree angle, and with that, you're going to allow this right hip bone to open. Okay? I like to flex my toes up off the floor here because I find it feels better on my knee. I'm going to reach back and grab my left ankle with my right hand. If you can't do that, no problem. Take your right hand to your right hip. Just work on that outer rotation and opening the chest. And if you do have that back foot, work on drawing the foot in close to you, keeping the heart open. Good. Keep the belly engaged and the right shoulder drawing backwards. Good. Start to breathe into those spaces where you feel a little bit sticky, a little bit uncomfortable. Take one more big breath in. Without slingshotting that back foot, if you have it, just slowly release. Let it come back down to the mat. Take your hands down to the floor. Pull your hips back to straighten your right leg out. And we're just going to bring that right foot into the midline. Okay, so in towards the center. Again, I encourage you to grab blocks here if you are rounding your back or you just don't feel supported here. Okay, so blocks underneath the hands. Think about lifting the tailbone. Pull the chest forward. And then I want you to find this action of pushing the heel in towards the mat, pulling the toes towards your face, and it's almost like you're pulling your right foot towards you without actually moving it. Good. And then, if you can keep the back nice and long, maybe you start to fold forward. Okay. So again, I'd rather see a long spine than a rounded back. Okay, because I know even for me, I'm feeling this in my right hamstring. And we're just tuning into the breath here. Focusing on that point in the body, that area that we need that breath to go to make more space. Give me one more big breath. Beautiful, you guys. We're going to step back onto that right foot. Tuck the back toes, plant the hands, just bring it right back into your downward dog. If you'd like to walk your legs out one at a time, if that feels good, go for it. Just take a moment to notice how your legs feel right now. The different sides of your body. With an inhale, take your left leg up. On your exhale, step forward. And again, we're going to take the left hand inside the left foot and walk that left foot out to the side of the mat. And I want you to, again, try to pull the chest forward, lower the hips, lift your heart up. Okay, so the back leg stays super strong. Lift your back knee up off of the floor. Yeah. And then pull the chest forward. Okay. You should feel a nice opening in the front of that right hip flexor right now. Take one more big breath. Okay, and then gently just drop the back knee down to the floor. And here's an opportunity again to either ground the forearms or stay on the hands, or maybe take blocks underneath your forearms. Yoga is all about feeling the body, right? So really tune into where you're feeling the sensations occurring right now. And with every breath in, try to create more space with that inhale. And on your exhales, gently allow your body to just soften into that space. And slowly make your way back to your hands. Once again, opportunity to reach that left arm back and grab the right heel. Another option would be to take your left hand towards your left quad and just outer rotate that hip. Good. We're going to point the left toes out towards the left slightly and just flex the toes up off of the floor if you can. Good. And then keep pulling the heart forward. Good. Chris, you can release your right foot to the floor. Yeah, nice. Good. Take your heart forward, take a big inhale. As you exhale, slowly unwind. Good. Ground the hands down on the mat again. Pull your hips back to straighten your left leg out. And again, we're just going to bring that left foot in line with the left hip. From here, same thing, blocks under the hands can be super helpful if you need them. Either way, I want you to lift the tailbone high and pull the chest forward. Draw the belly in and flex the left toes towards your face. Okay, take a nice big inhale. If you can keep the hips square and the back flat, maybe bow forward. Try not to collapse here. So support the body in whatever way that you can. And once again, breathe into that space that feels a little congested, a little tight. You might find that after a few breaths, you might keep softening. Maybe you can let go a little bit more, even if it's just for a moment or two. One more full breath in. Full breath out. Slowly rise back up. Okay, we're going to plant the hands, bend the front knee, step it back into your downward facing dog. And just walk those legs out once more. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And just slowly drop your knees down for child's pose. Take your hips back towards your heels, melt the heart towards the floor, relax the forehead down. And gently start to walk your hands in. So you're going to come up to a kneeling position, just sitting on your knees here. Good, so you're sitting up, and we're just going to simply flip around so the legs come out in front of us. All right, and then we're actually going to make our way into a wide-legged fold here, you guys. So let's all turn over this way. You can make your way into the center of your mat. Flex your toes, okay? So the action of outer rotating the thighs here and flexing the toes is super important, and you might already be feeling this. If you'd like, you can sit on the block if you feel like you're super rounded. If you can stay tall, and just simply start to walk your arms forward. And I want you to stop when you feel the back rounding. So some of you might come down quite far, others might barely be folding at all, and that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so breathe into the quads, breathe into the hamstrings, maybe the inner thighs. And again, do your best to stay soft where you can. Your face is relaxed. Maybe close your eyes and just focus on one breath at a time. Try to remain active in the front of the legs. And gently walk your hands back in. All right. We're going to reach our left fingers over towards the left foot. If you can't quite get that, no problem. You can take your hand to your shin, and we're going to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Okay. And all I want you to do is pull the right arm back behind you first. So really try to open the chest. Nice. And then from here, try to keep the heart that open. And then maybe now reach the right arm overhead. So as you're doing this, I want you to really press into the right heel, grounding down through the right glute. Good. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Slowly make your way back up through center. We're going to do that same thing over to the other side. Okay, so again, you can hook the toes or just rest the arm. Take your left arm straight up. We're going to draw it backwards first. Try to root down through the sitting bones. Okay. And then maybe keeping that heart nice and open, reach forward. Do your best to breathe into that left rib cage. Keep the feet active, the belly drawing in. Full breaths. Inhale, and then slowly come back up to center. We're going to go for one more forward fold now. Okay, so same thing, bring the arms out in front of you, legs stay super active. Maybe switch forward a little bit more since we're a little bit more open. If not, that's okay. Otherwise, you start to walk your arms forward again. You might not barely fold at all. Maybe you're all the way down. Either way, legs are nice and strong. Back is nice and long. Give me 3 long breaths here, and then you're out of this one. Gently walk your hands back in. Awesome. And we're just going to gently take that right leg, just swing it all the way back around to the top of your mat. Good. And just walk out the legs in place here. So just bending your knees, maybe tapping your toes together, shaking it all out. Good. And let's all reach forward and grab a strap from the top of the mat if you have it. And we're just going to come right down onto our back. So from here, bring the knees into the chest for a moment, rock from side to side. And then send your left leg forward and down onto the floor. And I want you to notice your left hip flexor, okay? So if this feels like a big stretch for you, I want you to just bend your left knee so the foot is grounded on the floor, okay? Otherwise, you're welcome to keep it straight. If it's straight, I want you to flex the left toes towards your face. So I'll interlace the hands around the right hamstring, and then straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling. Good. Roll out your ankle. Take it the opposite direction. And point the toes and flex the foot. Point, flex. Okay. Now keep the foot flexed. Start to walk your hands up the leg. So this is where your strap is going to come in handy. If you can't reach that right foot, I want you to grab a hold of a strap. If you don't have a strap at home, you can always just grab behind your calf here. Or you can use a belt or get creative. Piece of clothing, a towel. Okay. And then it's easy to scrunch up your right side here. So I want you to roll your right hip bone forward. Okay. And then Kaylee, relax your shoulders down. So go ahead and use your strap here again. Awesome. And then activate that right thigh. Again, breathe into it. Try to keep rolling the right hip bone forward. Now we're either going to grab the right big toe with a yogi toe lock, so it's index and middle fingers going to grab the big toe, or you can take a hold of both straps, both parts of the straps in your right hand. Place your left hand on your left hip bone. Okay, so don't let that left hip bone lift up at all as you start to open your right leg out to the side. Feel like it's going to come down to the floor next to you. It's really important to keep reaching through your left heel here. And then lengthen again through both sides of the waist. Soften your face. Gently come back up to center. Take the strap into your left hand or grab your right foot with your left hand. Okay. And we're going to take the right hand now so that your thumb is sticking out to the side, right? Your fingers are forward, and I want you to wedge your hand into that right hip. So you're pushing your right hip forward. Flex your right toes, and just barely bring the leg across your body. So it's almost like your right foot is lining up with your left hip. Keep the right hip bone grounded and rolling forward, and you might get a nice IT band stretch in. Good, this one can get pretty intense. So really breathe. Try to keep the right leg super strong wherever you are, nice and engaged. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, bend your right knee. You can release your strap. We're going to come into a spinal twist. So that leg is going to come all the way across the body. The right arm comes over towards the sides there. And then gaze over towards your right. You can allow that left hand to come on top of the right leg just to give it a little bit of weight. And just breathe into the waist. Come back up into center nice and slowly. Drop both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side once again. Good. And then from here, we're going to send that right leg forward. Okay. So once again, we want to flex the right toes towards the face. And if that's too much in your hip flexor, you plant the foot down, you bend the knee. It's going to make this a little bit less intense on both sides. Let's straighten the left leg towards the ceiling. Interlace the hands behind that left hamstring. And then roll out the foot. If your right leg is straight, just make sure you're flexing your right toes towards your face. Point the left toes, and then flex the foot. Point, flex. And now keeping the foot flexed, the toes pointed towards your face, walk your hands up the leg. Maybe you catch the toes. If not, we're going to grab a hold of that strap again. And then from here, we want to find some more length in that front left side. So it's as if you're pushing your left hip bone forward a little bit. And then go ahead and just start to draw that leg in, maybe a little bit more, keeping the thighs engaged. Transfer both sides of the strap into the left hand. Take your right hand onto your hip bone, and then open your left leg out towards the side. Good. All right, so press through both heels. Try to keep the right shoulder grounded, the right hip bone grounded. Deep breaths. Good. And gently come back up into center. And we're going to switch hands, so take the strap into your opposite hand or grab the foot with your opposite hand. Take your left hand, right, kind of like an L shape, and then stick the thumb into that front left side of the hip. And I want you to roll your left hip bone forward, flex the left toes, really engage the foot. And you should get a nice stretch here in the back of that left leg and the side of the leg and the IT band. Full breath in. And then slowly release your strap. Go ahead and place your right hand on your left knee and just come into a spinal twist. Left arm reaches out towards the side. And here in the spinal twist, I'd rather see the left shoulder grounded than the left knee on the floor. So really work on drawing the left shoulder down. And almost press your left hip bone forward again just to find more length in the waist and the spine. Take a long breath in through the nose. Big breath out. And slowly roll back into center. Bring your knees back into your chest one more time, just rolling out your lower back. And then we're going to come down into Shavasana from here, guys. So just extend your legs out in front of you. The feet are going to come to the edges of the mat. The arms come alongside the body with the palms facing up. Just give yourself a few moments to absorb the stretch in your practice today.